Yes. The sentence structure.
Yes. Okay, so here we have phonology, which is the rules of speech sounds. So remember the I before E except after C, the sh, it is SH together, sh sound. And they have names to them. I'll look them up and show them to you right now. When we go back to the other page, we'll discuss them. You have morphology, which is the rules of word structure, how morphemes, which are the smallest parts of the word that carry meaning, and how they're used. Syntax is the rules of sentence structure, how the words in the sentence are placed in the sentence and how that sometimes carries meaning. Semantics is the rules relating to the meaning of the language. And so semantics means that, well, for instance, you can say something, make a comment or a statement that might, if you just read it, be positive, but like in context, it might seem a slight. So it's about knowing the nuance of language, how just language isn't just as like black and white print, that it's multifaceted, and that there are rules that give meaning to it. And then the rules go even further with pragmatics. And that's like rules that occur in social situations, dealing with language and the interactions with other people. So, if somebody's sitting in your spot at a concert, you can say, hey, I think that's my seat. Or you could be like, get out of my seat, you crazy person. I mean, you wouldn't do that. Because pragmatics dictate that there are certain rules, and that that there are certain ways in which it is acceptable for us to converse with each other in language. And so it starts with the basic sounds and goes all the way to this complex idea of how language is ruled and fluid in social situations. Let me show you another one.
That makes sense. See, like I'm like reading it, I'm like, what's the difference? Like, and then when it comes to the test, like, because there's like one where it's like which one has like I was telling you, the hard vowel R. So like they'll give you break, they'll give you like everything that has at least an R in it. And break, you hear the brr, like you hear the R, and there's something where like you don't hear that really harsh R.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, okay. That's why when I take it, I'm like, break, roll. Like I start like it's a couple of words. I'm like, like
Yeah.
I don't want to look like someone like a crazy person because everyone else is taking their test. I'm like, and I break them, or like I'll go to the restroom and I have to say it out loud. Like I remember answer choices. I'm like, okay, I can say it out loud now. And then I'm like saying it like, which one is it? And then I go back like, okay, it's this one. But like, I'm like, what the heck? I can't say it out loud. Because you know the rules, like you're taking a test, like you're gonna one thing's gonna lead to another, you're gonna get kicked out, and that's not what I want.
So this is a good sort of visual. Phonetic speech sounds. Phonology, phonemes. So phonetics is about speech sounds. Phonology is phonemes. Morphology, words, morphemes, smallest unit. Syntax, phrases and sentences. Semantics, literal meaning of phrases and sentences. Meaning and context of discourse. So
There's literally a word that means the literal definition of something. What's that word called?
denotation.
Denotation. There you go. Like they throw those to me too. So denotation.
Remember, denotation is the dictionary definition of a word. Dictionary. Denotation. Connotation is the social definition of the word. and they have many. And so I always explain to my students that words carry around little suitcases with several different meanings on it, and those things that change even throughout time. The connotation of a word can change. Right now, Republicans are trying to make the word woke seem like it's an insult. Very strange, but they're utilizing it like being woke is not something that you would want to be, even though we know it means that you are aware and enlightened and all of. So that's but it's interesting to see how people try to change. I mean, we're watching language change in real time. So
these are just I'm not going to talk about my party system, but you could already figure it out. But it just I just want my homie Biden to forgive my student loans so I can stop paying them already.
I know, right? Tell me about it. Okay, so let's look at this one. Phonology versus morphology. Phonology studies the smallest contrastive parts of language. The speech sounds. The parts of language studied in phonology do not have meaning in isolation. It's very important. And that's the main difference between, phonology and morphology, is that phonology is just like the sounds and the way the sounds work, the rules of the way that the sounds might work. Morphology is the study of the smallest meaningful units in language and how language uses these units to build signs or words. And the morpheme is the smallest meaningful unit in a language.
See, there's a difference. And I kind of get confused when I'm taking this to something. They're like, because there'll be it'll give you a scenario. Like there's similar scenario based, but like, which one does the student Kim need to work on? Her morphemes, her phonemes.
Right. So if it sounds, it's phonemes. If it has to do with word at the word level, it's morphemes. If it has to do with the sentence structure and the order of words, then it's syntax.
Yeah, so that's how they put these definitions in the sentence. That's scenario.
Absolutely.
They won't give you hey, what's the definition of
no, they're not going to say what's morphology. No, they're going to make you say which one of these does she need to work on, based on the assessment. So that's why it's very important to have a good understanding. So smallest units of meaning in language, you have happily, and then you have hap plus ly. Care plus less. And so each of those morphemes together creates a word. I'm so annoyed that I cannot find I made that PowerPoint specifically to help for this area, and I don't even have it, and it's so good.
Did you Google it? Did you search in your drive like keywords from the PowerPoint? I mean, that might
I did, and it's not. I think it's no.
I'm it just sucks because you're oh, no, I'm not gonna answer it. Not gonna answer the door. No.
Okay, it is this one. Thank you for suggesting that I do that.
That's why I did when I something, I'm like, did I save it on my drive or is it in my computer? So then I could just search for it, keywords that might show up during the thing.
Thank you for that. Okay. Okay, so phonology is the rule system within a language by which phonemes, which are sounds, can be sequenced, combined, and pronounced to make words. No English word begins with the sound the ng. That's a sound, right? Those are two different letters, but together they make a particular sound. One phoneme, those two letters which are graphemes, right? The actual, letter, and but they make one phoneme, 2 letters, 1 phoneme. The sounds p and k are never adjacent in the same syllable. Like there's some sounds that don't go together. They're just rules for it that aren't in our language. So that's phonology. Orthography is the writing system, and so that's you using the graphemes. Every English word ending in V, the letter X is never doubled, and every English word ending in V is spelled with VE, even though the E doesn't make any sounds. And you know why? Do you know why that is the case? Why we have a nonsensical E after the last phoneme and it just sits there quietly? It
Like
actually,
love, like in the word love, there's no E noise. Like just love.
love, gave, every single one, every single word.
Is it because it's weird without the vowel at the end? Like every consonant needs a partner. That's the way I think of it.
No, your mind is gonna be blown. So when they invented, it's such a dumb reason. When they invented it's actually not spelled like that, right? But they changed it, and it's just like now common knowledge that have, gave, all of those V ending words were assigned an E because when they invented the printing press, every time a letter ended in a V, it did this little extra something at the end, and it looked like an E. So they just decided we'll just throw an E on everything that ends in V. And that is why everything that ends in V has an E after it. It's a really non-reason. It's the printing press made it look like it had something like an E, and they said, fuck it, let's just put an E on it. So I just think that's so dumb, and it makes it challenging when you're teaching to the students that the sounds, and now it just makes it more challenging. But we have a lot of those rules.
Difficult. I didn't even like when they teach you how to spell, right? When they teach you how to say, like when you're in kindergarten,
right?
Earlier years, like you never think of like, oh, why does it have any? I never questioned it because they were like, oh, spell have, right? Like, how do you count that? They forget the E. It's not wrong.
But they do so many times. The thing is, when kids do learn, for a long time we have to say, remember the E. We just have to teach that until we become like brainwashed to do it. But if you go by our rules, it really it's not a real reason. But that is why it has to do with orthography. It has to do with the writing system. It has to do with the fact that the printing press made it all V's look like they had a dangly E. So they just said, let's do it. Let's go with it. Morphology is the study of meaningful units in a language and how the units are combined in word formation. So you have nat is a root, and it is the root word in nature, which is noun, in natural, which is an adjective, in naturalist, which is another noun, naturally, which is an adverb. And so that one morpheme, because that's what nat is it's a morpheme, utilized in so many words. And so the idea is, if students understand the power sort of behind these morphemes and the meanings that they hold, that they'll be better equipped to decode other words later on and understand, the meaning. Like if you were to teach them the definition of nature or natural, and just discuss that nat is the root word and what that means, you could probably have students come up with together a pretty decent definition for the word naturalist, which is a noun, right? If you gave them the other ones. And so just getting them to understand how the pieces of words work, and how by knowing how they work and knowing many of them, you can unlock, the magic behind new words. Okay, so semantics. the study of words and phrase meanings and relationships. So words and phrase meanings and relationships. The word rank has multiple meanings. The word order and sequence have similar meanings. So if you can say, oh, he was part of the rank and file, or you could say his room smelled rank. And that's totally different thing. It's semantics. Same word, different meaning, which is semantics. Syntax is the system of rules governing permissible word order in sentences. And when we are evaluating ELL in their language proficiency, especially in writing, it is the rules that govern English language and writing that make it sort of easy to identify intermediate, advanced, high, because there are certain things that just, double negatives, certain things that don't sound correct in English because they go against these syntactical rules. Our district recruits new teachers is a sentence. New teachers, our district recruits is not a sentence. So same words, different order, changes everything. Discourse is written or spoken communication, either or, discourse. It's the exchange of information and ideas. So you and your students have discourse when you're having discussions. Your principal sending you a memo is a form of discourse. Discourse includes paragraph structure, cohesive ties, genre, conventions,
would
even
these be
such as
expository and like that'll be
that's a part. Yes, that would be considered under the umbrella of discourse. Discourse is any sort of language or messaging, message giving, written or spoken, exchange of information, ideas at all. So pragmatics, again, is the system of rules and conventions for using language and related gestures in a social. So it's not just verbal, it's like verbal and nonverbal at this point. So to one person, I say, that is my seat. To another, I say, excuse me, my ticket has the seat number. And so just by, that is my seat. And excuse me, like it's just different. And you know why that is. And either way, the messaging is sort of the same. One is appropriate over the other because of the what social rules dictate.
Be like, see, when I talk to my brothers, it's the first one. That's my seat.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
yeah,
you're my seat. Be like, no, my parents are home. Excuse me. I think I was sitting there. My dad's like, no, you weren't. Okay, I wasn't. You're right. I'm just gonna. Two different people. Two different people.
Okay. We're not gonna do that part. I'm not gonna do this part either. This was part of what is it called? This was part of
teaching reading.
Yes, science and teaching reading. But I wanted to go over some of this stuff. So phonological awareness, very important to help students build phonological awareness in order for them to be able to do word recognition, which is what we want for them to be able to do. They can't read unless they can recognize words, right? So phonological awareness is very important because it's what needs to happen before they can get into like looking at the morphemes and then understanding, the meaning of the word. So phonological awareness includes, syllabication, knowing syllables. My daughter's my daughter's in kindergarten and she just had it yesterday on her homework. And so we were doing it one and I think the word was break. And she was like, break. And I'm like, do you say it like that? Break? Or do you say break? And she's like, yeah, this one. And then we did butterfly. So that knowing the different, syllables, the sounds, all of that goes in there. Decoding alphabetic principle, which is the alphabet, right? The actual alphabet, and them understanding, the printed grapheme corresponds with a particular speech sound. So making that correlation between like A, A, B, B.
So grapheme are the letters, and
Right.
and the phoneme is the sound, right? So they go.
That's right.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, look, I'm getting it. It only took
You
me-
are. And so the word, the sound, where's my thing where I can write? Hold on.
Did you activate it?
Yeah, I did. Okay, here it is now. So and this is syllables, not syllables, sound, phonemes are always put in between these. So that NG, that's 2 graphemes, 1 phoneme. Do you see how that works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sight recognition. So sight recognition is like sight words, right?
That's right. And so it'll be words like the, she, it, at, not, got.
Because I know there's a
have.
question where it's like, there's so many times I took it, right? There's a question be like, you're ELL student. Like the one we got yesterday, your ELA student. No, how to say? Like it was like your ELA student like is having a hard time recognizing words. What should you go back and review? Sight words, right? Because they don't know sight words like the ones they see all the time. Like what do we do?
Right.
To like teach them sight words, and we have to teach them how to decode the sight words. And it's just one of those. They're like
it was an ELL student. Tell me the scenario again.
It was just like your ELL student is having a hard time remembering sight words or something like that. Like it has something to do with sight words. And how do you like pretty much teach them to memorize the words they see? Right. So like do you
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. You would use sight word, more sight word activities.
I know there's
and that what?
There's like a bunch of like manipulatives for that. Like
absolutely.
Stuff, they're like, okay, you have like the blended letters and then you have the actual sight word. Like this is the sight. Like I used to sub the little kids. I'm like, I used to hate it because like, okay, we have these sight words. Oh man.
I know. I know. I make sight words at the house with the girls. Like I make the little cards on the, I have just like extra stuff from when I was in the classroom, and I make these little cards for them, sight words, and then I have them make like, for every card I make, they make one too in their handwriting, and then we put them all in there together, so it's like double the amount of sight words, just repeated. Some are in their handwriting and some are in mine, and we do those. I try to make it fun. You can use Play-Doh to have the students, like write over the words in Play-Doh, which is really good for your kinesthetic learners, visual learners as well. And there's a lot of things you could do. And what makes a bigger difference, obviously, is if the parents are reinforcing practice with sight words, because it really isn't enough just to do it in class. They need to be recognizing the words out in the world. I play this game with the girls all the time. Tell me if you see a word you can read. Let me know if you see a word you can read. Anywhere we go,
Then a McDonald's, a Whataburger.
Yeah, but that's different. That is icon recognition, which is good. It's one of the like beginning stages of learning to read, where you feel confident because you're like, yeah, I saw Walgreens, and you're like, oh my god, they read Walgreens. No, they knew, and they made a correlation between that printed text and the word, which is amazing, because that means their brain is already aware that words carry meaning and that letters and that grouping. So it's kind of cool. But I forgot where I was going with this completely.
Word recognition. Game.
Oh yes, word recognition. So word recognition, the foundational skills. And so word recognition, phonology, letter naming, phonetics, word attacks. These skills should be a priority for early instruction in the development and for reading assessments. Likewise, these skills will be extremely important for poor readers. So increasing their phonetics, their phonology, and their letter naming. Word attacks is word recognition, like sight words, right? Using sight words, that's what a word attack is. But so increasing their understanding of the phonetics, right? The speech sounds and the letters and how those two things go together. And when you see them, you can, make those sounds and sound out the word and now know what that word says, doing these 4 things is going to really, really, really help build word recognition. So sight words or the word attacks, increasing phonetics, increasing letter recognition and letter naming. And again, phonology.
Love phonology.
Uh-huh.
It's funny because like I told him, we have a second year student, like he can't write, but he knows how to comprehend, right? Because we all be talking to him in English, and he could read. Does he have a thick accent? Of course, because once again he's second year, but
Right.
he could comprehend things. I'm like, I go, Pablo, his name's Pablo. I go, you can't understand what I'm saying. You could comprehend because he got a higher grade his second year compared to another little boy. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
He was guessing, or but he knows. He knows. He says, I don't understand. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Don't even say you don't. I like him like, nope. Mm-mm. You understand perfectly fine. Okay, man, it's okay. Okay. I go, you're not dumb. You understand what I'm saying. Let's say it in Spanish so I know what you were gonna go do. Really,
Please.
You know what I'm saying?
You already know. I already know your brain is smarter than give him the statistic. Only it's a ridiculous number of Americans that speak 2 languages. And literally, if he speaks 2 languages and understands 2 languages, it means he's using more of his brain than his peers. He's literally smarter. So don't shy away from that. Own it right now.
That's what I tell
you understand.
You guys are not dumb. Like the ones that speak 2 languages, because there's like a lot of my kids, like most of their parents are like Spanish speaking. And I'm like, be happy that you guys learn Spanish. Like I was not very blessed. Like I learned it, but like when I went to grade school, like my parents and my grandparents didn't continue speaking Spanish to me. I'm like, they spoke English because that's what I spoke. My grandparents were bilingual. Like they had to. Like my grandma dropped out of school. Back then it was okay, right? Because it was the 40s and 50s. And my grandma was working like multiple jobs. She dropped out at 8th grade, and my grandpa dropped out as a 5th grader. So this was like the 50s. Like, oh guys, this was like the 40s and the 30s, like when they did this. So like, please, like my grandparents were very hardworking people, but my mom was very smart. Like she was an entrepreneur. Like she did her own thing, and she, my grandpa was worked in 9 years forever, and I'm like, but they worked hard for what they have. Like yeah, I told them like my grandparents might have dropped out when they're in middle school, which was fine in the back in the day. Like they didn't need the education like we do now. But my grandma's like, you went to college. You should know. Like, yes, grandma, I know I went to college. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I know I went to college.
Because like honestly, like it's me and my brothers are the only ones that have gone to college. My other cousins have never gone to college or never have to like. A lot of my cousins have repeated school, like grade school, and we're the only ones that haven't. So I'm like, oh, okay.
And y'all are the shining stars.
Exactly. Like, and that's because we're the youngest too. Us 3, we're the youngest. We're the babies. My little brother's 20, gonna be 21. So like he's going to college. Like he doesn't want to. Like he's like, I want to drop out. Get your associates. That's all we're asking for. You'll finish your bachelor's. Okay, but get through it. Come on, like it's not that difficult. I thought college was easier than grade school.
Yeah, I loved college. It was the best. Wish we could just learn all the time. Just go to college and learn and learn and learn and learn. But then you have to leave and go make money and be a human adult. I don't like it.
I was like, I tell my kids, you don't want to be an adult yet. Like, that's my time to go. They're stinky. They have PE right now.
We will
When are you free next week? Do you have like kind of your schedule?
I don't yet because I have to travel next week. I'm going to Houston. Oh, sorry. I'm going to Houston, but I'm not really sure what days just yet. But we'll continue with this, and it goes into greater detail. You know, I'm just giving you some examples. Onset rhyme is one of those things with like phonology and phonological awareness. And what was it else that I wanted to show you? This is an example of words with different, you know, with 4 phonemes, with 4 speech sounds, with 3 speech sounds, with 2 speech sounds. And that CVC is consonant, vowel, consonant.
There's a question on that. I forgot how it goes.
So this is consonant, vowel, consonant, and all of these words are consonant, vowel, consonant. Hat, cat, mat, can.
Okay. Well, I guess, are you having a session on this weekend for the PPR? Or you're leaving to Houston this weekend?
No, I'm not leaving to Houston. What happened? No, I'm not leaving the meeting.
Oops.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, Chihuahuas. Okay. Am I still sharing?
Yes.
I don't know why I X out of that. That was ridiculous. Anyway, I don't, but let's see what's maybe my Sunday evening. I'll have something, so text me if I might be available Sunday evening. It depends on because I share my 2 youngest with my ex-husband, and they go like every other week with him, but sometimes he picks them up later. So text me on Sunday and I'll let you know, and we might be able to do one on Sunday if you want.
Okay. So a lot of good things. Now I know. Now I could study, because like I said, I've been watching like a bunch of YouTube videos. I'm like, okay, I got this lady explained very good. Then I saw some of your YouTube videos. Like I'm like watching like multi YouTube videos to like learn, because
yes, you're gonna get it this next time. You're gonna get it. Just with the more careful reading, I think. You know what I mean? Like more mindful about like what are they asking? You know, like, are there any keywords and phrases I need to pay special attention to? Like, did they give me, you know, like a proficiency descriptor for this ELL student? If so, that's important information. I got to make sure that it's appropriate, whatever I'm choosing for whatever the student needs are.
okay.
All right, I will see you later.
Sounds good. Yes.
Bye.
I'm not supposed to a different girl.